We have all experienced that specific kind of Monday evening delusion. You pull into the grocery store parking lot after work. You turn off the engine, grip the steering wheel, and make a silent, sacred vow to yourself. You are only going in for milk, eggs, and exactly one onion. You even wrote it down. You have your little scrap of paper, and you are gripping it like a medieval courier delivering a highly classified message to the king. You might as well be wearing horse blinders. You are a shopper on a mission. Precision in, precision out. Welcome to Sketch Sense, where we break down money, markets, and everyday financial decisions in a way that actually makes sense. Take grocery shopping. You head out for one basic thing, maybe a carton of milk, figuring it will be a quick, harmless stop. Then 45 minutes later, you are standing in your kitchen unpacking a 3-pound bag of frozen edamame, 2 different kinds of artisanal cheese, a seasonal scented candle, and a box of cookies you did not even know existed until they somehow ended up on the conveyor belt. The milk is there, sure, but so is $75 worth of collateral damage. You didn't fail a test of willpower. You didn't suddenly lose your mind. You just walked into a multi-billion-dollar psychological trap disguised as a place to buy food. We tend to think of supermarkets as neutral environments, just big fluorescent rooms where they keep the groceries, but that is fundamentally wrong. A modern supermarket is not a warehouse. It is a highly engineered, obsessively calibrated environment designed with one singular goal: to disrupt your original plan and replace it with theirs. You walk in with a grocery list. They walk away with your discretionary income. The gap between what you intended to spend and what you actually spent is not an accident. It is the result of decades of behavioral science, spatial design, and sensory manipulation. Every square foot of that store has been optimized to short-circuit your rational brain and speak directly to your impulses. Today, we are looking at exactly how they do it. These are the 5 sneaky tricks supermarkets use to make you spend more money than you ever intended. Let's start right at the front doors. Trick number 1 is what we'll call the sensory seduction. Think about the first thing you see and smell when the automatic doors slide open. You never walk directly into the toilet paper aisle. You never walk into the canned soup section. You almost always walk straight into the produce department, the floral section, or the bakery. This area is known in the retail industry as the decompression zone. When you walk in from the parking lot, your brain is still in transition mode. You're thinking about traffic, or your boss, or the fact that your car makes a weird noise when you turn left. The store needs to snap you out of that reality and pull you entirely into theirs. So, what do? They hit you with nature, bright, vibrant colors. The deep reds of apples, the bright oranges of citrus. They have those little automated misting machines that spray the leafy greens every 10 minutes, complete with the sound of a distant thunderstorm. Does that mist actually keep the kale fresh? Barely, but it makes the produce look like it was just plucked from a morning dew in a pristine valley, rather than hauled across the country in an 18-wheeler. And then there's the bakery. If you've ever felt like a cartoon character floating off the ground, pulled by invisible scent waves toward a display of fresh chocolate chip cookies, you are reacting exactly as designed. The smell of baking bread and sugar actually triggers a physiological response. It makes your salivary glands activate. It tricks your brain into thinking it's time to eat. And study after study shows that hungry shoppers, or even just shoppers whose appetites have been artificially awakened, buy significantly more food. They buy heavier food. They buy more expensive food. They place the bakery and the flowers at the front to put you in a good mood. It establishes a subconscious feeling of freshness and quality that carries over into the rest of your trip. Even when you're 3 aisles deep looking at heavily processed frozen pizzas, you are no longer a person running an errand. You are an honored guest in a cornucopia of abundance. But getting past the bakery without buying a muffin is only the first test, because now you have to actually navigate the floor, which brings us to trick number 2, the obstacle course. If you just want a gallon of milk, you should logically be able to walk in, grab it, and walk out. But you can't. The dairy section is always, without fail, located at the deepest, furthest back corner of the store. This is the oldest trick in the book. The things people need the most, milk, eggs, meat, are placed on the outer perimeter, forcing you to walk past thousands of other items just to get the one thing you actually came for. But it's worse than just putting things far away. They actively disrupt your path to get there. Imagine you're walking down an aisle, pushing your cart at a steady, efficient pace. Suddenly, you have to swerve. Right in the middle of the floor, blocking your clear path to the milk, is a massive cardboard display of premium tortilla chips and jars of salsa. You literally have to walk around it. In retail psychology, this is known as a speed bump. It is deliberately placed there to break your physical rhythm. When you have to slow down and steer your cart around the display, your eyes naturally fall on the product. You weren't thinking about nachos. You had no plans for nachos. But now the nachos are right here, interrupting your journey, whispering to you about how good a snack would be right now. They also use end caps, those displays at the very end of the aisles facing the main walkways. We have been conditioned to believe that anything on an end cap is on sale. It's a special promotion, right? Why else would it be featured so prominently? But the truth is, a lot of the time, those items aren't discounted at all. Companies pay massive premiums to the supermarket just to have their products placed on an end cap. You buy it because the placement signals deal, but the price tag is entirely standard. They hijacked your momentum, and you paid full price for the privilege, which leads perfectly into trick number 3, the illusion of the deal. Let's talk about the math of the supermarket, specifically the holy grail of retail traps, the buy one, get one offer, or the BOGO. You are walking down the aisle, minding your own business, and you see a sign. Cereal, buy one, get one free. Or maybe it's 10 for $10. Your brain immediately lights up. You love saving money. Who doesn't love saving money? You feel a sudden, urgent need to secure this financial victory. But let's pause and look at what just happened. You didn't come to the store for cereal. You didn't even want cereal 10 seconds ago. If the cereal was just sitting there at its normal price of $5, you would have kept walking, but because the sign says buy one, get one free, you suddenly feel like walking away is leaving money on the table. You put 2 boxes in your cart. You just spent $5 you had absolutely no intention of spending. You didn't save $5. You spent $5. But the framing of the offer makes your brain categorize it as a win. This is the sneaky genius of grocery pricing. They anchor your perception of value. They will put a limit 4 per customer sign on a stack of canned soup. Suddenly, soup feels like a scarce, highly coveted resource. You weren't even going to buy one can, but now you find yourself thinking, well, I better get my 4 before they're gone. They use complex pricing to exhaust your ability to do the math. When you see a sign that says buy 2, get the third for 50% off, your brain has to work pretty hard to figure out the actual per unit cost. Most of us don't bother. We just see the giant yellow sticker, assume the store is doing us a favor, and throw it in the cart. You are doing everything right. You are trying to be responsible, and somehow the math still looks offended that you aren't buying more. Now, while you're trying to calculate the true cost of that soup, the store is playing its 4th trick, eye-level engineering. A supermarket shelf is not just a shelf. It is a highly competitive, fiercely negotiated piece of real estate. And the most expensive neighborhood on that shelf is the bullseye zone, the area directly at your eye level. Brands pay what are called slotting fees to guarantee their products are placed right where your eyes naturally rest. When you look for pasta sauce, the most expensive, highest margin premium brands are staring right back at you. You don't have to reach up. You don't have to bend down. You just reach your hand straight out. You are literally paying a premium for the convenience of not moving your neck. If you want the better deal, if you want the store brand sauce or the bulk bags of rice, you usually have to look down. The cheaper items are relegated to the bottom shelves, essentially hiding around your ankles. They make you physically bow down to save $1. And this eye-level engineering doesn't just apply to you. It applies to who you bring with you. Walk down the cereal aisle and look at the boxes placed on the lower middle shelves, right at the eye level of a 4-year-old sitting in a shopping cart. Notice how the cartoon mascots on those sugary cereals have their eyes angled slightly downward. They are literally making eye contact with your child. They are engineered to spark a tantrum that you will eventually cure by just throwing the box in the cart so you can finish shopping in peace. The store is outsourcing the sales pitch to your own kid. By the time you have navigated the misting produce, walked a mile to get the milk, dodged the speed bumps, calculated the BOGO math, and fought off the eye-level mascots, you are exhausted. Which brings us to the final, most brutal trick. Trick number 5, the checkout gauntlet. You have survived. You have your items. You just want to pay and go home. But as you army crawl your way toward the cash registers, you enter the final trap. Think about the physical space of a checkout lane. It is incredibly narrow. Once you push your cart in behind someone else, you are trapped. If you suddenly look at that $9 jar of artisanal salsa in your cart and experience a moment of clarity, realizing you don't want it, what are you supposed to do? You can't turn the cart around. You don't want to be the jerk who shoves a random jar of salsa in between the gossip magazines. So you just buy it. The architecture of the lane forces commitment. But it's not just about trapping your cart. It's about exploiting your brain. For the last 45 minutes, you have been making micro decisions. Should I get the thick cut bacon or the regular? Is the organic peanut butter worth the extra $2? Which of these 17 identical toothpastes is the one I usually buy? Psychologists call this decision fatigue. Every choice you make depletes a little bit of your cognitive battery. By the time you reach the register, your prefrontal cortex, the rational, disciplined part of your brain, is completely fried. Your willpower is flashing a low battery warning. And what is waiting for you in that narrow, inescapable lane? Walls of pure, concentrated dopamine, candy bars, sodas, chips, things that provide instant gratification. You are standing there with zero serotonin left, staring at a king-size candy bar that seems to be staring directly into your soul. Suddenly, it doesn't look like a snack. It looks like an emergency medical intervention. It's a reward for surviving the ordeal. The store knows you are tired. They know your defenses are down. The candy at the register isn't an impulse buy. It is a toll you pay for decision fatigue, and millions of us pay it every single day. When you start to see the supermarket not as a public utility, but as a carefully engineered casino, your entire experience changes. The goal here isn't to feel bad about buying the cookies or grabbing the candy bar. The goal is to realize that the game is rigged, and the only way to win is to change how you play. You cannot out-willpower a billion-dollar behavioral science department. You have to out-system them. This means changing your rules of engagement. It means never shopping hungry, because a fed brain is a rational brain. It means throwing on headphones and listening to a podcast, maybe this one, because supermarkets intentionally play music with a slow tempo. Studies show that a slow beat actually causes shoppers to walk more slowly, keeping them in the store longer. If you listen to your own fast-paced audio, you dictate your own walking speed. It means sticking strictly to the perimeter of the store where the actual food lives, and only diving into the center aisles for specific, targeted extractions. Treat the center aisles like a hostile environment. Get in, get the oatmeal, get out. And most importantly, it means reframing how you view a deal. The next time a massive yellow sign screams at you to buy 3 boxes of crackers to save $1, ask yourself the only question that matters. Did I want this before the store told me to want it? If the answer is no, keep walking. Leave the trap empty. You walk into the store with your own agenda. Don't let them rewrite it in the aisles. Respect the opponent, understand the battlefield, and protect your wallet. You came for the milk. Just get the milk. If you found this breakdown helpful and want to continue learning how the financial system really works, please hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and leave a comment below with a financial topic you want us to cover next. Thanks for listening to Sketch Sense, and we'll see you in the next episode.